Alright, NXT before Stand and Deliver. I gotta say this before I get started. Hearing that NXT Stand and Deliver is not, if I'm understanding correctly, not having a pay-per-view in the United States, and it's going to be streamed on YouTube. Now, I understand the kickoff show is going to be starting first, but if I understand correctly, unless I'm mistaken, YouTube is streaming the entire thing. Now, if I'm wrong, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. But if it's true that not only a kickoff show in the United States is being streamed, but also the entire show is going to be aired on YouTube. Now, supposedly Infinity, I think, is going to be airing it. But generally, it's going to be international. It's going to be Netflix International. No, I don't think Infinity is going to be doing anything. I do believe the entire thing might be streamed on YouTube. I'm not sure. They kept saying it's going to be. I'll have to check again. But if that's happening, if YouTube is going to stream Stand and Deliver, guys, if you guys haven't seen JD's video of Raw, or Alex, because Alex is saying there's something wrong here. Things are not going well. JD has made it very clear. This is shit that is coming from Raw and coming from SmackDown. I don't watch SmackDown anymore because it's so bad. The only person I cared about on there was Jordan Grace, Roxanne Perez, and I think Roxanne is on there. If I'm wrong, no, I don't think Roxanne's on there. But the point here is, there are people I like on Raw and SmackDown. Roxanne Perez, you got Jordan Grace, but I hadn't seen anything of them. Nothing. Then if you watch the show, there's only one true feud that anyone cares about. That's Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here, guys? If you look at the card, and Alex said the card is stacked. No. The card means nothing without story. Let's make this clear. I'm making this very clear before I even get into this, because I gotta say this. This doesn't need to be very long. I gotta say this. If anyone want to make a comment below and say that the WrestleMania card for the 18th and 19th is stacked, what is wrong with you? Explain why there's almost no stories to any of the feuds. And the women's division feels blank. Do you actually care about Jade Cargill versus a Rhea Ripley? No. Do you care about what's going on with Asuka and Kairi Sane? No. Because the stories for them suck. AJ Lee versus Bayley. Do you actually care about Bayley with AJ when it's been 2 months that AJ has not been seen on TV, and she's been cold until she got that title, and even after getting the title she still feels cold? The entire product, as I told you guys, is orientated, and JD notices it heavily now. As I've said multiple times now, WWE is not there to make wrestling. It's there to use wrestling to make money. There is a stark difference between the two statements I stated. When you make something, if you love it, you're going to craft it the best you can to make it mean something, to make it the best it could be. And the other one, you don't give two damn flips about it. You're just going to use it to make whatever money you can. You don't have to use that much interest. You just do it. As long as you're making money, that's all that matters. And now they're saying Triple H sucks. You know what? It's not about Triple H. It never was about Triple H. I've stated this for more than almost 2 years now. Triple H is a yes man. It doesn't matter about him. It matters about who runs the company. Ari doesn't run the company anymore, even though he is the CEO. Well, technically runs it, but not as the owner. He's just someone who just runs it. Silver Lake owns the company. They own it. And they don't care. And that filters from the shareholders of Silver Lake down to the shareholders of TKO and the executives from there. No one cares. They only care about making money, making WWE into UFC, where they're making UFC use huge amounts of money to bring people in. The same thing with WWE, that the same pattern. UFC, you have to spend 20 or 30,000 to get great seats. The same thing with the big 4 pay-per-views. You want good seats, you got to spend almost $20 to $30,000 to get it. Not counting about when the regular shows come out and they're hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. I tell you now, they don't care. And then you get to NXT, which is a little bit strange. Because if you watch how the wrestlers are working Raw and SmackDown, it's very formulaic. They do the same moves over and over again. When they botch their moves, instead of going to another move, they just try to repeat the same move. You look at NXT, they don't do that. Not all the time. Most of the time, they don't need to do it. Because Shawn Michaels taught them not to act that way. So when you look at Stand and Deliver, now, I know this is almost 7 minutes. If you look at Stand and Deliver, being transferred this possibly one time or multiple times to YouTube, it's like you're saying, we don't want this show, which looks like it might outshine night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania. We're going to throw it on YouTube. Now, I'm not saying that NXT is better than Raw or SmackDown. They're all still learning. But the stories there are more compelling. So instead of doing a pay-per-view for them, if I'm right, it's being thrown on YouTube just like AAA is. That is way to devalue your brand. Let's move on. They're in New York City. Nice to see. I'm going to tell you this. Did I care about Out the Mud beating Dark State? No. But it was nice to see Santana there because Santana's a hometown boy. He's from us. He's from New York. The fans went crazy for Out the Mud and they went really crazy for Mike Santana. And the Out the Mud got the pin. I don't remember who got it. Nima? I think Nima got the pin on Suge. I think it was him. And if you saw what happened afterward, when you see pretty much a Deion Lennox explode with rage and say next week or whatever he's going to be trying to make it right, it looks like at this point Dark State might finally be ready to break up. I'm hoping. Now, Los Americanos versus Birthright. Now, this is a strange thing. They're making No. You got 2 heel groups. Los Americanos is trying to cheat the other group of Birthright. And I'm like, this made no sense to have Los Americanos there. Yeah, they're cheating to win like a little bit of Eddie Guerrero. I'm not saying they're following the full blueprint of him, but with the little plate in the head before Tyler Bates and a little bit of Pete Dunne. Let's make it very clear. We know it's them. And they won. The Birthright did not win, if I remember correctly. No, Los Americanos won. And I'm like, is Los Americanos good guys now? And they're not. If they're cheating, technically they're not. When they go to the main roster, it is obvious they're not good guys. But on NXT, they are good guys. And that makes things confusing. And it should have been better to leave them as they were. If they're heels, they're heels. They're face, they're face. But since I don't watch the main shows much, if they turn face now, you guys can tell me below. As far as I know, they're not face. They're still heels. With a Grande Americano. He's not a face. He's a heel. He still hasn't beaten the original Grande Americano yet. Chad. Moving on. Jada Parker versus Kiana Jordan. Let me give it to you like this. Was it a hard-hitting match? Yes, it was. I actually liked it. It was a good match. In the end, Miss Parker won the match. Afterwards, she basically got her ass handed to her by Kiana Jordan afterward because she was wanting to beat her up. But here's the thing. What now? The problem I have is this. Someone needs to leave. I think Kiani's going. The question is it at Stand and Deliver or is it after Stand and Deliver? I don't know. It's hard to say. And the question is going to be, will you see Kiani Jordan on the main roster after WrestleMania? Night 1 or 2, doesn't matter which one. When will she show up there? Or is she just going to be sitting in the back for months and do absolutely nothing? It's hard to say. Next match. Carver versus Jasper Troy. Let me give it to you like this. Do you like Kiana Carver? No. Not because he's doing a bad job. It's just, I think it's just his. You got Jasper Troy, who's now the face, who was a heel before. Now he's turned to face defending Booker T. And then you got Carver, who is a heel. But the problem here is that Jasper Troy is not the person that Carver should be going up against. It should be Booker T. I'm saying it right now. The only way Jasper Troy makes any sense is that he is going to be a transition for Booker T to get into the ring and face Jasper Troy. I'm not saying it's going to be a stand and deliver, but it feels like that's what's needed to get a Kiana Carver over, really over. He's got to get in the ring with him. Now, I don't know if Booker T wrestles anymore. I know I've seen him once in a while ago, that he did get in the ring in reality wrestling. I don't know if he does it anymore. But to really get Carver over, it feels like he needs to get in the ring with Booker T. Because even though Jasper Troy got his ass handed to him due to the fact of let me give it to you like this. Jasper Troy did lose that match because of a little bit of Josh Briggs. But then afterward, he also got his butt kicked and Kiana Carver. And now there's going to be a triple threat the next week after Stand and Deliver. But I truly feel like this. The only way he's going to really get over is with Booker T. Moving on. Lola Vice versus Kendall Gray. Look. When you look at the match, it wasn't a bad one. But here's the thing. Do I believe they needed to go down that road of having a tap out with a pin at the same time because they just didn't want either one of them to lose? What would have been better was that Mr. Stone had stated last week that they needed to just have a triple threat. I think it would have been better that way. But due to the fact of what happened with what we're going to have with the Fatal 4-Way, and I'll talk about that in a minute, I guess they felt like the only way they can do this is this way. It's the only way. Because they couldn't just do a triple threat because normally that is a contract signing. And they're already doing one that night. And they didn't want to do another. So that's the reason why they did it. Do I agree with it? No. Because legitimately, this should have been done weeks before. Let the women do it weeks before and then let the men do it here. But they chose not to. Now they had the match where now both got a submission and a pin. And now they're going to have this three-way dance. It's the only way. Now, let's talk about what happened. Let me give it to you like this. The contract signing between my boy Ricky, my boy Ethan, Joe Henry, and a little bit of Tony D. Let me give you this. Was it done effectively? Yes. The person who had the last say was Tony D'Angelo, making it very clear, I don't care about none of y'all. I'm coming for my damn title. You don't understand what it means to be a champion. I'm coming for it. And he told Stone, get out of the damn ring because you know what's about to happen next. And there was a fight. Now, unlike what happened in the main roster, like with Cody Rhodes, and they separated them too quickly, or CM Punk and Roman Reigns. At least you got to see two people go through table. Well, one person went through the table, and that was Ricky. But when it came to Joe, he didn't go through the table because when Ethan tried to do the Ego's Edge, He did not break the table. He landed awkwardly, and the table went from here, instead of going like this, it went like this. So hopefully Joe Henry's okay. He didn't get concussed or anything. And then when you see that it was Ethan and Tony D fighting, that's when they tried to break it up for that segment. I'll say it was effective. I'm not having a problem with it. But here's the thing that I've been waiting for. Oh, and also LaFlair. Just found out LaFlair, who is the Speed Champion, he tore the ligaments in his arm. He's out for the next 6 months. They're going to have a tournament, I believe. Still don't care about the Speed Championship. But at least they are going to do something with Eli Knight. The final thing I'm talking about here will be simply the vid pack for Soruka and Zaria. It was important to see that. Yes. The thing here is, for me personally, I've seen them both together for more than a year and a half, at least at this point. They have built Zaria with Soruka. Soruka already got something, but Zaria had the international fame, but she did not end up like Julia or Stephanie Bakir, that had so much fame, supposing from the outside. They threw titles at them, and now look at them. They had no character development. Zero. That's what they got. If anybody said Stephanie was great, particularly when she showed her dad, there was no development. That is what they do with any face. And in the end, where is she now? Doing nothing. Julia had all that momentum, and when she went to the main roster, she's doing nothing. They care more about Kiana James more than Julia at this point. But Zaria, they gave her real development with Soruka. They let her be a partner. They let them do tag teams. They let show that Soul and Zaria were friends. You got to see that Soul basically loved Zaria, and Zaria was willing to do anything to protect Soul. She loved her that much back. When Soruka was getting her ass handed to her by JC James, Zaria threw in the towel to protect her, even though she hated it. She tried to defend for the Speed title. She did everything she could to help Zaria, but in the end, Soruka, but in the end, Soul always outshined Zaria. And now Zaria is done with it, and now we finally have Stand and Deliver. Just like last year when Stand and Deliver came and they had the ladder match, and Soul was one to beat her. Now we're going to see, are they really going to let this happen for Zaria? Will Zaria finally get her due? I don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do with Zaria or Soruka when it comes to Stand and Deliver. But to me personally, this is the second most developed storyline there is. The first is Tony D'Angelo. Tony D is the most developed. From when his family was destroyed, when he came back and he's been trying to get the title back, he is the premier one they're trying to focus on. But the second one is Zaria and Soruka. And what will they do with Zaria? Will they actually put over Zaria? Or will this still be about Soruka? Will they really just make this about Soruka getting over and then she goes to the main roster later in the year? Or will this be about Zaria finally getting over and then she focuses on trying to become world champion? This is going to be a big question. Will they go there with Zaria? I think that might be my title. Will they go there with Zaria? You guys tell me how you feel. Leave a comment below. Peace.